Well, guys, unfortunately, I had to go Tuesday to the Toyota dealership to get a front end alignment and to get new tires for my truck. That's $1,100 gone. That's my budget for the year. But anyway, we had to wait there for 3 hours. 3 hours of waiting, sitting there in the waiting room, waiting for them to get that job done. And the holdup was that they had trouble getting the front end of the truck aligned properly for some reason. They finally got it, I think, I hope. But anyway, while we were waiting there in that waiting area, you know, they have a TV there, probably a 55-inch TV there in the waiting area to watch. And I was mostly reading, scrolling on my phone like most people were laid off and on. But I was also paying a little bit of attention to what they were saying on the television because it was right there beside where I was at. And I noticed that every commercial break was a push for big pharma, some kind of medication. Get this medication to stop smoking. Get this medication to be able to get it up. Get this other one to be able to get it to go back down. Commercials, right to the public, pushing big pharma. I think the United States is the only country that allows big pharma to advertise directly to the customer. And that's what we are, we're customers. It is a business, pharmaceutical industrial complex. Their job is to sell more pharmaceuticals, to sell more pills, to sell more injections. It's not about health, it's not about getting people well, it's about getting people on medication, hopefully, for them anyway, lifelong medication usage. You start taking this and you have to take it the rest of your life, you know, to mask the symptoms. It is absolutely ridiculous. And my mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, she's dead now, God rest her soul. She was on so many medications. She had, when she'd go to the hospital, which she did quite often because she was sickly, but she also smoked, she had diabetes, she would also eat cake, donuts, whatever she wanted to eat, and then she would get the shot and put that shot in her stomach. But she had 2 Walmart bags half full of medications that she was prescribed by her doctor when she would go to the hospitals. She had to carry 2 bags of medications. When you have that many medications taken every day, they're all interacting with each other, I mean, who knows what that's going to cause. It can't be good in my opinion. I'm not a doctor. This isn't medical advice, but just common sense. You have so many pills you're taking all the time. I know another woman that she was probably in her early 30s then, early 30s, late 20s then, and she went to the doctor and she had some stress, I think that it was, and he put her on nitroglycerin. And then she goes to another doctor a couple years later out of town and shows him that she's having to take nitroglycerin. And he tells her, you don't need this nitroglycerin. Why did he prescribe that to you for? You don't need this more than anything. That doctor's going to kill you. I mean, it is crazy at the pharmaceuticals people are taking nowadays. There's a pill for everything. Quit smoking, quit drinking, quit eating, gain weight, lose weight. I mean, everything. There's pills for literally everything. It's like they sit around trying to figure out a disease, an illness they can come up with to prescribe medications for. Then they feed this to the doctors and the doctors prescribe that to the people. One of the big ones that they prescribe is antidepressant drugs. You know, Zoloft, Paxil, all these antidepressant type drugs. They prescribe these like prescribing Tic Tacs. It's amazing. Every time I go to the doctor, it seems, in my lifetime, they've offered me some type of antidepressants, even though I'm not depressed. I went to the doctor here a while back, and I was telling it's a nurse practitioner that I went to, and I was telling her, because my blood pressure was sky high, and it always is, and I go to the doctors because I don't like being to the doctor, because I know what's likely to happen when you go to the doctor. You can't never tell. You may end up leaving there standing and walking out, or her laying down on the gurney. Who knows when you go to the doctor. That's the way I look at it. So when I go, you know, my anxiety levels go up, so my blood pressure goes up also. And I was explaining that was the reason my blood pressure was up, because, you know, severe white coat syndrome. Same thing at the dentist office. And I talked to the nurse practitioner about that, and I told her that I actually need a prescription to get like a 5 milligram Valium for when I'm gonna go to the doctor, when I'm gonna go to the dentist. Not taking daily, just taking when you actually need it. Those things are highly addictive, but they are effective if you use them correctly. You're not taking these things every single day. You're taking these things, you know, when you have a really, really stressful situation, like going to the dentist to get dental work done, because your stress level is going to be up. If you can take something like a 5 milligram Valium, not powerful, just enough to kind of make you a little bit more relaxed when you go in there, it might be a good thing. Some people actually need that. So back then, that's been a while back, I was talking to her about that, and she would not prescribe that at all. Something to take maybe 2 times a year, a 5 milligram Valium 2 times a year when you had to go to the doctor or the dentist. She wouldn't prescribe that. Instead, she wanted to prescribe anti-anxiety medication, antidepressant. I forget what it was called now off my head. She wanted to prescribe that, telling me how great that it was. They had to take it every single day, because you would keep coming back as a customer. That's what it is, a lot of it. You have to take it every single day, put that in your body, and those things they can cause some serious things to happen in your mind. And my ex-wife, they put her, she was going through some things, and they put her on, I think it was Zoloft. And she took that for about 2 weeks, Zoloft, and she started hearing voices. She started hearing her grandma talking to her. But luckily, you know, she had enough sense, she was smart enough and intelligent enough to know what was causing it. She knew it wasn't reality. She knew the dead wasn't talking to her. She knew that it was the medications the doctors had prescribed her, the Zoloft. I think it's Zoloft. So she stopped taking that, and it all cleared up. But thankfully, she was smart and she knew what that it was, so she stopped it very quickly. But a lot of these people we're seeing now get on these things, they're prescribed these things, and they already have mental illness to begin with in a lot of cases. And then we see now all these mass shootings we've had over the last few years here. And you look at all those and do an investigation into those mass shootings, and what do they all have in common? Antidepressant drugs, antidepressant prescriptions. Prescriptions to alter your gender. It also affects how your mind works, because it's altering the chemistry in your body and in your brain. So that messes everything up. And if you already have some issues anyway, these people get it in their mind that everyone else is the enemy, so they have to go do these horrible things to children and whoever. It's a pitiful situation, but they will blame it on everything in the world besides what it mostly is. There's other things that contribute to these things like these mass shootings. However, the big connecting factor to all these I've noticed is these drugs, these antidepressant drugs that Big Pharma pushes right to the public, right on the television. You go into your doctor, you go into your nurse practitioner, they push the same thing. But then, you know, when you talk about it in the mainstream media, when the event happens, you never hear what that actually is. They tell you it's all kinds of other things tied in, but they never talk about Big Pharma. And I'm sure this video will probably get demonetized, will get 10 views, because it'll be suppressed in the algorithm, because they don't want people to hear this type of information, this type of things, because it gives them something to think about. Again, I'm not a doctor, this isn't medical advice, but what I am doing here is hopefully giving you something to think about, because it is a serious situation when you have these things to alter the mind with people that's already not stable anyways in most cases, and they give these drugs, and people start hearing voices. They start hearing their dog tell them to do whatever. I mean, they start talking to their stuffed animal that tells them to go out and do these things. It's crazy, but they keep doing this because there's big money in it. There's big money in it. They don't want to heal They don't want to make people well. They want to push medications. They want to push those medications. So, in my opinion, anything you're prescribed, you should definitely be asking yourself, do you really need this? Can you get off of this? Can you change your diet? Can you change your habits? Can you change the way you think to get off of these drugs, to get off these pharmaceuticals? Because even if they don't cause you to go out and do horrible things, they mess your life up in a lot of cases. They cause a lot of issues, a lot of problems. And, you know, we always heard that marijuana was the gateway drug. Actually, pharmaceuticals are the gateway drug. You start taking these things, you go to the dentist and you have, you know, some dental work done. So they prescribe some antibiotics. They will prescribe some hydrocodone or something even more powerful depending on the dentist and the work you had done. You take this for your pain, it feels great. But then, in a few days, you've been taking that, and the next thing you know, when you're trying to quit taking that, you're like this. You can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't think, you're sick, you're sweating. Because you want that drug, because you became addicted to that drug physically. Then, it's a slippery road, right on down to being homeless, living in a cardboard box, taping your arm, putting a shot in. It's a quick road. It's a quick road too. It's a slippery slope and it's a quick road right to being homeless, owning nothing, broken family, being a complete drug addict just because you got these pharmaceuticals and start taking that without questioning, without thinking. You took it when you're supposed to, every time, but you just want to keep taking it because it made you feel good. The next thing you know, you're a drug addict on the street. You're walking around town like this. I mean, it happens quite often. So just be careful, guys. Be careful and know when you see these horrible events, like these mass shootings in the media, when you see these people talking about what these evil people did to these other people, even children. What kind of a person can go into a school and do that and do something like that to children? Evil, demented, drugged up, demonic possessed people, in my opinion. Anyway, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.